Hi, everyone. So, I wanted to talk about a concept that kind of irks me because I've I at some point was able to relate, and now I have a new perspective on it, and I wanted to share that with any of you who are in a situation that I was in. So, and that concept is love and light. Love and light. All is love and light. Be in your light body. Be light. The light in me sees the light in you. That's kind of disturbing, only because there needs to be a balance. Um, if you're one of those people who try every day to do things and have things and be things that allow you to vibrate in a positive energy and be in light, whether you take your crystals, like I got my rose quartz that helps, perfect for female energy, or my clear quartz helps with accelerating your vibrations and the vibrations of other essences of other crystals. Um, and like I'm burning cedarwood and rose right now. I'm drinking jasmine and basil tea. Um, I do yoga, all of that jazz. If you do all those things as well and you still have an underlying anxiety and you find yourself running from your shadow because you're running toward the light and you want to make sure that you're in the light at all times. And if you have to protect yourself from the darkness and shield yourself, shield your psyche from dark energies, then this video is for you because you're not balanced. Unless you think you are, then you are. But you're not if you don't feel like you are. And you probably don't feel like you're balanced because you have anxiety or depression, or you're just living in fear. You only want so much light so that you can make sure that you get as far away from the darkness as possible. Um that thinking is going to perpetuate your spiritual warfare. You're going to be battling with yourself, and this is not a warning because it's already happening. Forget about what you will be doing in the future, or this is not a threat saying if you don't do this you will do that. It's happening right now. Right now, in this very moment, you don't want to feel anything negative. Good vibes only, dude. Good vibes. And I am here to tell you that the balance does not mean that you need bad vibes and good vibes. You don't need to resonate at a higher frequency versus a lower frequency. You don't need to do anything. The only thing that you need to do is to be still and know that you have the power. If you give all of the power to light, you're also inadvertently giving power to darkness because you're giving it the power to ruin your life if it catches up to you. If the darkness catches up to you, you will be in fear, or your anxiety catches up to you, or you're just scared. And I don't like to see people scared. So that's why I'm making this video, because most of my life has been spent in fear and trying to get away from the darkness. And I was literally afraid of the dark. Are you? Are you afraid of the dark? Did you know that the darkness actually helps you on a whole different level? What do I mean? I mean that you will learn way more about who you are and how much power you actually have by being still in the darkness. And if the darkness does not mean bad energy or evil entities, then what does it mean? Because I know, like, the first time I heard someone say that darkness is not evil, I was like, well, then what is darkness? It's not good. It's not anything good because light and dark, light is good, right? Then darkness must be bad. Well, light isn't always good either. Think about it. You're running so much toward the light that you're afraid of the dark. So, this desperation to be in light is causing you fear. So, the light and your whole concept of it is creating and perpetuating your negative vibrations that you're trying to get away from. It's not the light's fault, it's yours, it's ours. Have you ever meditated in the dark? No, because you're scared of, like, feeling vulnerable and not being adequately protected from dark entities that like the darkness. Well, if you are in that mental state, then you're attracting that. It's plain and simple. Um, so I'm going to use the darkness because that's what we're all doing. We're using the darkness as the physical darkness as a symbol of spiritual darkness. So let's stop and go back to redefining what happens in physical darkness. In literal darkness, you can't see. So that means anything could be around you unless you know your surroundings when there was light. When the light shone and you knew what was around you, you want to assume that it's the same when the lights go off and you can't see what's around you. The darkness is mysterious. But that's it. That's what it does. The darkness allows you to not see. So, if I didn't know what was around me, then doesn't that mean that I have the power to create what's around me? Let's think about this on a spiritual level now, on a metaphysical level. If I don't know what's in front of me, if I don't know which path I'm stepping on, what paths are there, if there's even a path, then doesn't that mean that I have to mentally create my own? And I can't help but to be sure of the path that I'm going on because my mind is all that I have. My mind is all that I have. The light, the concept of the light causes a duality in the sense that it gives us the information that we're supposed to use. So we end up stuck in this physical mind of this dualistic place where I either see what's in front of me and then know where I'm going, or I can't see what's in front of me, so I don't know where I'm going. Because the light told you where to go because you see it. So when you don't see what's in front of you, you go based off of the light because you feel like you can't go anywhere in the darkness. You're too vulnerable, you're too scared. But that's why it causes you to look within yourself and see that you have the power to create your path. And I don't see what's wrong with that. The only thing that's wrong is you not using wisdom and your own judgment. If you don't feel like it's good to meditate in the dark, then maybe you're not ready to. But let's take meditating in the dark, for example. If you feel like you're surrounding yourself with mystery, then you can either react or proact when you're meditating in the dark. This is where the power of manifestation comes in. Because if you're closing your eyes or if your eyes are open and it's just dark and you're meditating, then you can either allow your eyes and your mind to receive the information around you and react to it, or you can project your mental image onto what you can't see physically. Then you physically operate in your mental state that you want to manifest and project into the world. I'm trying to see how I can like break that down. Shadows. If you see shadows in the dark, as everything begins to become clearer, after you turn off the lights, you can't see crap, and then your eyes start to adjust and you start to see shadows. Do you assume that you know what those shadows are? Probably. And so you assume the shadows, let's say you assume a shadow takes the shape of a chair. So because you think it's a chair, are you going to sit in the chair? That's metaphoric for you reacting to your environment instead of proacting to it and assuming. Because when you assume and when you think you know things because of what's externally presented to you, then it's a counterintuitive entitlement in a sense. You're not able to free yourself because you're enslaved by your assumptions. So I can assume that a shadow of a chair is anything. And of course, like that it that's a whole different can of worms, because if it's a shadow of a chair, then it's like physically speaking, it's probably a chair. But I'm using this as a metaphor. If I'm meditating in the dark and I start to see shadows, then I can create what I want those shadows to be. And they don't even have to be shadows forming for me to proact off of them, for me to like manifest off of them. It's all in my mind. The darkness represents mystery. It represents a blank slate. If there's nothing that you can see, you create something that you can see. Or what do you want to see in the dark? That's what happens in our mind. If something tells our mind what we see, then we're enslaved by it. Instead of being able to allow our minds to be the mysterious power that they are and create our motivations, our drive, our goals, our environments, our relationships, our life with the mystery. And that's humbling because we don't know. When we think we know, then we enslave ourselves. And we only enslave ourselves by thinking we know when it's limiting. If you see something that you don't want to see and you react based off of what you don't want to see, then you're not free to live in love and light. The light becomes a dictator to your life instead of love. You need to turn to the darkness for love. Because there's nothing external in the darkness. You can't see a darn thing. So it all has to come from you. If you can't do that in the light, that's why you have fear. That's why you're anxious. You're anxious because your higher self knows that it's in bondage by things that it doesn't want to see, that your mind doesn't want to see and accept. But because you accept them as reality and you think that your reality is final and tangible because that's what the light is, it casts a definitive glow on things so that you know this is a chair, that's a bed, this is a bedroom. So because I'm in a bedroom, I can only do this. No. And this is still a metaphor for everything that you can do mentally. I don't know if you're familiar with Hermetics, but there are 7 Hermetic principles, and the Hermetic principles are all universal laws. Universal meaning in our entire universe, this is what's proven. And my favorite is, and I guess the basis for all other Hermetic principles, is that all is mental. And it may sound kooky, but if you think about it, all is mental because all we can do is think. Our whole lives are a symbol of our mind. And our mind is connected to the body. And our body is connected to the earth. And the earth imprisons us because it limits our minds. If we use our bodies to express what's in our mind, then we can either live physically or we can think higher than the physical realm so that we're not limited or enslaved by it. So if you have fear, it's not because fear is real. It's because your thoughts are real. Because they're manifesting a real feeling within you that you have the power to change. And it can only change for you if you're anything like me and how I was. Where we were in similar consciousness at one point. It can only change when you turn off the lights and you face your fear and you look past it to actually see what you want to see. And that's hard. It's simple, but it's hard. It's very simple. Just turn off the lights. That's it. That's your key to not having any more fear. It's just turning off the lights and being calm. But it's not easy because if you're not ready, and you can get ready at any time, but if you're not ready and you let what's external dictate what's internal, then you will be overwhelmed by what's possibly around you externally because you can't see. Visualize mentally, visualize physically, and visualize yourself free from fear. The end.